Good evening. Patrick here. Have Cheetah Will View 8 questions with. It's a it's a Tuesday night, a very cold Tuesday night, and I'm looking down at my warning, my weather button over here. It's saying that we're supposed to get a winter storm tomorrow. We are expecting, they say, 5 to 8 inches. But if you live in Michigan long enough, what you do is when they tell you that, you cut it in half. So we're looking at about 2 to 5 inches tomorrow. Not too bad, but it's going to be our first snow since Christmas. Hey, Jaden, how are you? How are you? Glad you're here. Um, yeah, this will be our first snow. Significant snow. We had a dusting last week. It pretty much had already faded away, but this will be our first real snow that we've had since since Christmas, since we had a white Christmas. Um, so tonight, heading off the week, we are saying hello to a sort of an old new friend. Our guest will be Bryan Dodds, actor stuntman Bryan Dodds. But as with many of our guests, I first met them when I started doing the written interviews for 8 Questions with, and Bryan was very gracious enough to do that with us. And that interview was on my blog, and I'll probably transfer it here as well, so you can read, read that as well. So Bryan is a perfect multi-talented dual threat. He can act and he can do stunts, and that's a really nice skill set to have. And we're gonna meet in a on the 7th of February. We're gonna meet another dynamic performer like that too, in Crystal Martin, who also is a professional stunt woman, and she's also an actress. And um, she ended up getting the lead role in The Mean One. So the fact that you hear the word stuntman or stunt person, don't let that just fool you. That's what they can. Also, that's all they can do, because a lot of these stunt performers, they're very good actors, strong actors, and we're seeing that with Bryan. Bryan, his career is definitely on the rise. He is starting to get more, he's starting to land more and more roles, speaking roles, on his, doing auditions, going through the hard work. While he's still very much in demand as a stuntman, I do think we're going to ask him this. We're going to ask him what he wants to do. Is he want to do one or the other, or is he going to be happy balancing the plate? Because it's an interesting plate to balance, if you ask me. You get to do all sorts of fun things for stunts wise. Get set on fire, get thrown through a barn. All sorts of, take a punch from the main bad guy, or take a punch for the main good guy. All sorts of fun things that you can do. So we will be talking to Bryan about that as well. All right, and this on cue, and I don't know what this is. I know it's psychosomatic, but it seems like as soon as I put my ass on TV here on the camera, all of a sudden I start itching. I don't know what that is. I know it's in my head. Some of the shows that Bryan has worked on, the aforementioned the Rookie Feds. He's worked on that show. He's also worked on Hunters. He's also worked on American Horror Stories. Also worked on Agents of Shield. That's really cool. This Is Us. He also played on. He even had a small role on General Hospital. General Hospital. That's fun. That's fun. Um, and like I said, some of the stunts that he's worked on, some of the shows that he's worked on are the Rookie and the Rookie Feds, uh, the Santa Clauses, featuring Tim Burton, and he's also worked on the Cleaning Lady with Elodie Young, who played Elektra in the Daredevil series on Netflix. And he's also popped up on 9/11 Lone Star and Agents of Shield. So, like I said, he could do multiple things very, very well. All right. So he will be here with us momentarily. Um, and while that happens, well, we know we're doing. We're hitting it. We're hitting it hard. We're going to the calendar because the calendar is everything. So, unfortunately, one of those shows that we got, well, unfortunately for us, and tremendously exciting news for our guests. We had to reschedule our interview with Crystal Lowe. She has got something huge landed on her lap. And so we don't know what that is. Well, she does, but we don't. Um, but she will come back and reschedule with us to talk about her film Afterglow. I'm trying to get that date right now, but that's in the state of flux because she doesn't know and she can't tell me because she herself doesn't know. But when it happens, it will happen, and we will talk to Crystal about her short film Afterglow. We will be trying to get some of the cast members of that movie, to come out and hang out with us and talk to us, including one of the producers of the show. We'll see if we can get that happening. But for right now, February 4th, that's not going to happen. All right. So, what is happening today is it's all Bryan Dodds here at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night, we will be talking to our friend Jim Heffernan. Will be here tomorrow. He has written and directed some very fine films, including two that I personally can vouch for: The Angry World of Brian Wester, which I absolutely loved, and Destroy All Sisters, which I also loved. And he is currently working on his new project. Hopefully, that will be we'll be talking to him about that as well tomorrow night. On the 26th, we will see our good friend Mike Markoff come back, our fellow coffee friend. Coffee, Mike, here's to you, buddy. And Mike Ferguson and Josh Hahn, always, buddy. Gotta love coffee. And I gotta love my desk squad guys. All right. So Mike Markoff will be here with us on Thursday, and he'll be a lot of fun to talk to too, since last time we caught up with him. He's had a tremendous upsurge in his career as well. He has The Legends of Hawes is out. We heard that Homestead was finally wrapped on and it's in post-production, and hopefully that will get a release in 2023 as well. And he also did a movie with Glenn Powell called Hitman. Glenn Powell right now did the movie Devotion, which I'm very much want to see. And he also appeared on Top Gun Maverick. And Mike himself has appeared on the aforementioned Death Squad, and he's also done a lot of very fun projects in between that we will be talking about in depth on the 26th. Oh, he also got engaged since the last time we talked to him. Yes, Mike Markoff got engaged, so we were very happy about that, and we'll be talking to him about that as well. All right. On the 29th, of well, I should mention this. This is gonna be a very unusual, but this is just to show you how much support we have. I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna sound sort of funny. I have a show tomorrow night. I do at 8 o'clock. But I know that my show is not always what everybody wants to see, and I get that. Even though I'm worked very hard on it. But one of the ISC nights, Mike, an American Werewolf in New Jersey, is having his 2-year anniversary on YouTube tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on his channel. I'm going to be putting that in the description box down below because I want to. He will be having a panel of guests. They're going to be talking about his channel the last 2 years. I'm saying this because Mike is also on ISC Midnight. He also does the show with us on the last Sunday of every month. And the movie that he picked for us to watch this month on this Sunday, the 29th, is I Trapped the Devil. So we will be covering this thanks to our good friend Mike from An American Werewolf in New Jersey. We'll be covering this at 6 o'clock Sunday night on his channel, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Pacific Time. We'll be joined by Mary Wilson, and we will be joined by Ben from Cadaver Club. And as they come on in, and we talk about the I Trap the Devil. All right. So I know that's an unusual promotion right in the middle of one's own show, but I just wanted to throw that out there to show support to Mike as he's shown support to me. Okay, on the 29th for the Midnight Society. Wow, what are we doing? We will be talking about the Red Bands. I think I gotta put that. I gotta decide what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I could do the American version of Martyrs, but I'm afraid you guys would just martyr me. But yeah, I don't know what we're doing. Hey, there he is. Do you have an Instagram by chance, young man? Do you have an Instagram? If you do, I hope you do. I hope you have an Instagram because I heard what you said and I think I can help. So if you have an Instagram, let me know, or even a Facebook. If you have a Facebook, let me know, and yeah, we'll talk after the show. On the 31st of the month, the last show of January, we have film studio owner Rocky College will be here with us from Ghost Walk Films. He'll be talking to us about making films in Ohio and why Cincinnati is going to win the Super Bowl. So he will be here with us on the 31st of January. We talked to his partner, Victoria Varden, earlier this month. Now we're going to talk to the other half of Ghost Walk Films and Rocky Cartilage. And that's going to be a fun interview as well. Yeah, February is rolled along. Exciting February. I'm telling you, there are some shows on here I'm so jacked for. I'm seriously jacked. Yeah. I still got a couple holes I'm working on fixing. But I'll tell you what we got so far. So the 1st of February, we're doing a double header. I will be going over to the pond, flying across the pond to the UK to talk to Lisa Loves from the Lisa Loves YouTube channel. As anybody knows Lisa Loves, she's a tremendous cinephile. Her collection is outstanding. She puts out a ton of great content. Rumor has it she's like a secret member of the Cinema Squad. All sorts of fun things we're going to be talking to about Lisa. Some tough stuff. We're going to touch upon a couple of interesting topics as well. But Lisa will be our guest on the 1st of February. 1st of February at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. 2 p.m. So I will be on early. Hello, Echo. Our guest will be here momentarily. Bryan Dodds, actor, stuntman extraordinaire. Bryan Dodds will be here with us in a minute. And then on the nightcap, we'll be back here at 8 o'clock, our usual time. We will be talking to Anna Thiessen, also known as Caslove, and she is a tarot card reader and a crafter, and just an all-around really nice person. That's really the most important thing. But she is a tarot card reader, and she's damn good at it. And so we're going to have her come on and talk to her about tarot cards, and maybe even see if any of you will be brave enough to step up there and get yourself read. So that'll be a lot of fun, and that'll be on the 1st of February, Wednesday. And then Thursday, the 2nd, we see our good friend Angela coming back from Morbid Hearts Designs. Angela will be coming back to visit us. We have not had her on the show. She was our 3rd guest overall. Third guest. And she's coming back, and we have a special co-host and our good friend Hobbs Hoare. He'll be coming on there and be riding shotgun with me on the 2nd. On the 7th, I'm still working. We have another double header. At 4 p.m. 4 p.m. We'll be talking to Yeah. Sure. Yeah, come on in. You come to the show on the first. Hit the notification bell too when you guys are here. I put up all the upcoming lives that we do. You guys can go in and hit the notification buttons on every single one of those. That will help you know that when I go on. As you know, even though I say the show starts at 8 o'clock, you guys all know that I always come on at 7:45. But just hit that notification bell and just it'll let you know when we go live, and you guys can come out and hang out with us. All right, I think I got enough time to do one last week before Brian will get here. Um, so on the 7th of February at 4 p.m. special time, 4 p.m., we will be talking to Crystal Martin. She is also an actress and also a professional stunt woman, and she also is the leading lady, the star, the breakout star, mind you, the horror Christmas horror comedy, The Mean One, which actually stars David Thornton Howard, or David Howard Thornton, or Art the Clown. He played the evil Grinch, and Crystal plays Cindy Lou. You know, as much as I like Art the Clown, and I like Art, and I like the Grinch. I do think that Crystal would kick both their asses probably at the same time. Just saying, just saying. So she'll be here with us at 4 p.m. Pacific time, or Eastern time, 1 o'clock Pacific, and then on the 8th we have, and I'm telling you, you wait till you see this. Seriously. So we're going to be talking to Kevin Stone, and he is an artist. He works metal. He's a metal artist. Wait till you see some of his work. I guarantee you, you will be blown away. Blown away. This guy's skill set is top notch. Um, amazing art. It's just I just you have to see it to believe it. We're going to be interviewing him, and I'm sure he's going to be showing off some of his pieces. It's insanity. The skill set that they have. He just moved into a new, God, I don't know, maybe 32,000 square feet. Maybe I'm way over. Maybe I'm overestimating that. But he's moved into this massive new studio, and wait till you see his art. It's amazing. Um, totally blown away by that. Totally honored to have a chance to talk to him. It's going to be fun. I really love talking to artists, as you can see. I'm just in awe of their skill set and their drive. So Kevin Stone will be our guest on February 8th, Wednesday, and then on the ninth, we will be talking to actress Debbie Scaletta will be here with us. Debbie Scaletta will be here with us. She is a very well-known and very respected screen queen, and she also likes to work in Ohio. And I have a few of her movies, actually. I have Cynthia, and I have the Lilith Ratchet. Um, it's actually that movie's in my red box. I have to go to my red bins. I have to go down and watch it. But she is a very skilled actress, and she'll be here with us on the 9th. All right. Oh, let me go make sure that my guest did not get lost. All right. Did not. Okay. Okay. No, did not get lost. Okay, that's a good thing, because here he is right there. All right. He's standing in his mark. All right, guys, put your hands together. Share us out when you can. Let's go bring in our guest tonight, actor, stuntman extraordinaire, Bryan Dodds. Greetings, sir.
How you doing?
Very excited to have you here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
It's sort of weird that this is the first time we've ever talked, but we've known each other for a while now.
Yeah, because we did that interview a few years back.
Yeah. A lot has happened since then. I like to think that it's a anybody who did the interview with me back then is destined for great success.
Yeah, I mean things have definitely picked up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's for sure.
let's
Yes.
let's roll with that.
I was just talking about you, and I was also talking about another actress and stunt person who I also interviewed with, and she just broke out last in December.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
maybe maybe you know her. I'm sure you probably do. Crystal Martin.
Yeah, I know exactly who Crystal is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She got that lead role in that in the Mean One,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah,
How
I saw that.
so? You guys are all on the rise.
Yeah, we're staying at it. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of patience and
Yes.
keep going at it. So
Well, I was looking at when you and I were talking, and you know, I was looking at what you've been doing. I mean, you've started to rack up some your also your body of work is also impressive, and not only are you acting and doing, but you're doing the stunts as well, and that's like a lot of people are just happy to do one job. You want to do two jobs.
yeah, it's been an interesting journey. And I actually added a third. I've been doing a lot of writing as well and doing some sketch comedy right now and trying to continue that as well. So there will eventually be a third avenue.
And thank God it's a comedy because I feel like comedy is like and maybe how do you feel about this? Do you think comedies and sort of like seems like it's just lost right now, doesn't it? Mainstream wise.
Yeah, and I was able to just shoot a multicam comedy, and we've kind of gotten away from the multicam. There's been a lot of single cams. It's less. I don't want to say it's less structured, but it's not the same type of beats, and it's not written the same. And pretty much we're using anything we can as comedy nowadays, and not all of it's really great. So
Yeah, it seems like everybody needs to feel like they're everybody needs to have a punchline has a message sent into it instead of just looking for a laugh.
yeah,
I don't want my comedy with a message. I just want to laugh. You know.
yeah, I agree. And I think some people try to get too political with it, and just keep it simple, have fun. Don't try to push too hard because that's most people can feel when you push something too hard, try to push an issue or an agenda. But you know, most of the stuff that works is usually stuff that people enjoy doing. They're not trying to force anything. So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you get into the comedy because believe me, the comedy needs all the talented help it can get. And so you jumping in there and doing sketch comedy, thank you so much for doing that. It's sincerely. Um, it's really cool to be able to sit and talk to people who enjoy that because I really don't feel like we see it very often at all anymore. Yeah, we have some comedies on TV, but I don't know. It seems like those shows are they're always looking over their shoulder when they say something. You know,
mm,
they crack a joke and looking over like, is that okay? Am I going to get canceled for that? Am
mhm.
I going to get heat for that? It's like,
Yeah,
you know, uh, it's just like, let it fly.
yeah. I think that's a good point. And a lot of the shows that get picked up is people are just doing what they love doing and not worrying about being too political or trying to fit in with you know all the different politics today. And I think the real focus is as long as you're having fun and doing what you're doing, like someone will notice, and in our case, hopefully someone will notice and give us a show. Um, but yeah, it's tough.
So before we come back to that, because we'll come back to that,
Okay.
but let's circle back and let's circle back. Can you see the chat? Okay.
In the top right.
Yes. Can you
Yeah.
see it? Okay. I will stop once in a while if someone asks any questions. Oh, someone already said you look like Carrie Elways.
Oh my gosh, you can't you don't know how many times I get that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So,
Major
not a bad
Full.
thing. Hey, Princess Bride, one of my
Yeah.
favorites. So he was great.
Yeah. Major Full. Standard attention. Okay. How many times have you seen Glory? I've seen it like 20 times. Uh, or Saul, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Uh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So let's go back to the beginning, and so tell us where you were born and raised at.
Sure. I was born in Philadelphia actually, and then my family moved to Central Pennsylvania, really small town called Boiling Springs, about a half hour outside of Harrisburg. And then I actually went to college out in Pittsburgh,
Nice, Carnegie Mellon.
Slippery Rock University, much
Okay,
smaller. So
okay, nice. Now, when you then what was it like for you to growing up? I mean, were you totally into sports? Did the acting bug hit you? Were you a writer? Were you a creative back then?
I actually was doing a bit of both. Whenever we whenever we had to do class projects, I always asked the teacher if I could write skits and film them. So we would film these like comedy skits, but like with Transformers and a Barbie doll inside of a car and they're cruising, you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. And I did some theater. Um, but mainly I was a sports guy. Did all the traditional sports. Acting for me was just something to do. It was fun on the side. But sports is really where it was. And then even into college, I played football in college and, took acting classes. But because sports in college is a full time job, you're not allowed to do anything else. So
Right, right.
it's always just been
It's
the
I
hobby.
think people are amazed when they see someone who's on scholarship and you sit there and go like, okay, I think they're really surprised at how little free time you really have.
It,
Like even in the off season,
yeah. Well, because then, in college, there's spring ball. And you
right?
always come back and you're always coaches are always asking you, if you gain weight, have you gotten faster, and you're always competing with the next guy that comes in. So, the freshmen that are coming in or the guy who redshirted, they're all trying to take your spot. And, it's all in good fun, obviously, but it's competition's always there. So,
Well, it's interesting too that you mentioned how you were doing comedy when you were younger. So comedy was in your blood from the very get go.
yeah, with comedy, for me at least, it's about seeing the world differently. I always liked the superhero stuff and the sci-fi fantasy adventure stuff, but with everything else, it's like, people are so serious all the time. And to be able to take a comedic look at things and kind of, I mean, to be able to put a smile on someone's face and just ease tension in general, I don't know. I feel like everybody should have some comedy in some form or way in their life. So, but yeah, it's always been there for me.
So did you enjoy your time in Pittsburgh? I mean, what did you do? Did you go down to did you go down to any of the community theaters? You said you did theater. Did you do anything outside of football? I mean, other than that, you took some acting classes? Did you go down and when you
Yeah, so
could?
we would go to Pittsburgh quite a bit, just because Slippery Rock was a very small town. There's not much you could really do there. Um, all the plays and everything that happened at the school, I was always invited to. So we would go there, me and a few friends. But I didn't make it to too many theaters in Pittsburgh. Um, Unfortunately, I was pretty young and crazy back in college. So if we were going to Pittsburgh, it was usually with some of my fraternity brothers, and we were drinking in most
Oh,
cases.
oh, okay.
So unfortunately, I didn't get to escape and get into anything fun outside of drinking. But yeah, no,
How many Steeler games did you go to?
quite a bit actually. So one of the cool things that we did for community service is we actually helped work the Steelers games. So we got to see some of the Steelers games for free. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I already knew without even asking. I knew you'd be a Steeler fan. So you know.
Well, it's funny. I'm actually an Eagles fan. So I used to
So
get
this is our guest tonight, guys. Bryan Dodds. Oh, no.
Don't
I
worry,
was feeling.
I got a lot of crap in Pittsburgh, and I had a lot of those terrible towels flying at me. But
Look
yeah, I
at
still.
look at the chat and tell me what you see in the chat though.
Oh wait, you know what? Comments.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
getting the Fresh Prince song stuck in my head. Yeah.
Someone just threw up four Bengals up there.
Oh, I agree. I think it's going to be Cincy and Philly.
That's gonna be a hell of a Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
That's gonna be a hell of a game. That's
I
what I
think
think it's gonna be too.
Yeah, I think I've entered into like 10 Super Bowl ticket sweepstakes. So
Nice,
I've been
nice.
trying to get tickets for the last month or so.
So sports were really important to you too. Well, what was it like? Did you have any brothers and sisters in your house? Uh,
Yeah,
were your parents as well?
so I was the oldest of three. My brother and I did a lot of the same stuff. He's 2.5 years younger than me. My sister's 2.5 years younger than him. My parents worked very efficiently. So my brother did all the same things that I did, except he was a model actually before he became an actor, and is actually out here with me in LA acting. But we both did the same thing: football, track, basketball. My sister followed in the same footsteps, and well, she didn't play football, but she was a soccer player, did ballet and stuff. So we all
Uh,
did the athletic path.
is she also in the business?
She's not. So she is the only one out of the siblings that stayed in Pennsylvania. She's got two kids. So I have a cute niece and a very feisty nephew back in PA.
I like
But
that.
my brother are both out here right now, both doing the acting thing. So he's just doing acting, just that. So
Right, right. So that must have been a lot. Who got the bug first, you or him, as far as acting?
well, okay, so that's an interesting story. So I actually a friend of mine got me into acting and modeling, and I started doing theater first. Again, it was just something fun to do. And then the agent in Pennsylvania that I had saw my brother, and he just blew up in the modeling world because he's 6'2". He looks nowadays he looks like Thor. He's got the beard. He's chiseled. But he blew up, and he actually moved to New York and then to LA before me. So I went to college, got my degree. He went out here in LA and kind of jump started everything. And when I went to move out here, he was here already, obviously. So I moved in with him.
Okay. Do you guys still are you guys still roommates?
No, 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 no. We're not roommates anymore. I actually just recently moved in with my fiance, but we were roommates for what, 14 years.
Wow. So that means you guys really you just had a tremendously you had a tremendous support system. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and we still do, and it helps, especially in this industry. It can really beat you up. So
Yes, yes. Uh, wow, that's cool. What did you did you graduate through MFA or
I got a bachelor's, not in what you would think I got my bachelor's in. It was actually in exercise science. Um,
that makes sort of
so
sense though.
what was
I mean,
that?
it makes sort of sense though, right? You're in for stunt work.
Yeah, it's great because if I ever need to gain weight, lose weight, do whatever, I don't need to hire a trainer. So that that definitely helps.
Okay, so now here you go. You graduated from Slippery Rock. Uh, did you know what you wanted to do when you got out of college? Did you already know did you have an idea where you were going to go?
Um, Not 100%. So I wasn't sure where I was going, and so I came for my internship. I went to Arizona, got a chance to work with some collegiate and professional athletes. And then while I was in Arizona, I flew out to see my brother in Los Angeles. And when you're from Pennsylvania, you think of a town like Los Angeles or city, and you're like, oh, all those people who think they're better than everybody else. Like, I don't want to move out there, which is exactly what my mind frame was. And went out here a couple times, saw the area, realized that LA isn't just LA. There's so many different suburbs and a lot of amazing people out here. Um, so I planned to move out here. Wasn't going to get into the industry. Again, that was just a hobby of mine. That was something I like to do, but not to make money. Um, and so I moved out here. I was just training people. I was actually an MMA fighter at the time, and so I was just doing both of those. And it wasn't until November 1st, around that time, that I met somebody from William Morris Endeavor, and they're like, "Hey, did you ever think about acting?" And I was like a job?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're in LA, bro." I was like, "Okay, sure. Well, I used to do it, so," and that started my journey.
Wow. Uh, MMA fighter. Now, how'd you get into that? I mean, had you because I mean, I guess with someone talk you into it? Was it a dare? Was it just something you were curious about?
You know what? One of my roommates and fraternity brothers was a very successful cage fighter, and he asked me the one day if I wanted to go train with him, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" At this point, I was still playing football, and we were just doing some Thai work, hitting the pads, and I was like, "This is really fun. I really like this." And so I started training with him more and more and more, and I actually by myself went off to a jujitsu studio and started training there as well, and it just I got hooked, and
Mm.
it's kind of how I got into it.
Uh, yes, Professor. We just acknowledged that. God, you must really get that a lot.
What?
The professor just came in. And he just mentioned you look like a young Carrie Elways.
Oh, yeah, it's man, it's pretty much every set that I'm on, I get that.
Mhm.
So, but hey,
Mhm.
he was a looker when he was in Princess Bride, so I'll
That's
take that
right.
as a compliment.
Yeah, History of the World Part 1, like I said, Carrie Elways, yeah, he's a it's that's not a bad actor to be compared to, as
Yeah,
far as the look-alike.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
Okay, so now I'm just curious, it's like, you didn't have any you just went out you just worked out a couple of times a few times with your friend, and then all of a sudden you felt like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go ahead and become an MMA fighter. Had you ever done any boxing or anything like that before? And tell me, what was it like the first time you got hit?
Um, I was a bit of a knucklehead in college, so we fought quite a bit. Not like good fighting, like wasn't. It was just you get drunk and fight. We were idiots. But I didn't mind getting hit. That wasn't the thing. It was more of an adrenaline rush for me. And the object was not to get hit. So that
Mhm.
was obviously something, my buddy was helping me with right away. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, I had him helping me out, and then I actually had a group of guys that I was in class with that were in my same major that I didn't know, that rolled every week, and rolling just means you're doing jujitsu. Um, and they're like, dude, if you want to come. One was an ex wrestler for our college team, which was D1, and another guy actually already fought cage fighting. So I ended up getting in with a good group of guys, and it was just learning for me. Like I didn't think it was going to turn into stuff that I could use for stunts or anything like that. It was just the next hobby. So.
And that's really what happened, right? I mean, did you fight professionally? How many fights did you have?
I had one fight.
Okay.
Um, I had it out in Arizona, in Yuma, and man, it was great. It was a rush. I ended up fighting a guy who's supposed to go pro, and it went to a decision. So thankfully, I didn't get knocked out, and he ended up winning the decision. Um, but it was a rush, and I actually moved to LA because I was going to train at a gym called Legends, which Eddie Bravo and I think Frank Couture were the owners of that, and that was the plan. It didn't happen, but that was one of the things I planned on doing. So
Okay, so now you're in LA. I'm building this up to where you got into stunt work.
okay,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah. So here you are, LA now. When you came in, did you move in with your brother right away when you moved to LA?
I did. So we moved into a place in West Hollywood, a really small one-bedroom spot that didn't have air conditioning, and I moved in during the summer. So it was very hot. I'd already had a job lined up at a gym in Century City. So once I started actually getting paid, like we ended up moving into a nice little area called Park La Brea, which is right across from the Grove. Um, and yeah, we'd actually, it's funny, we actually used to fight a lot when I first moved in with him, but
You and
eventually,
your brother?
yeah, I used to fight quite a bit, but we got used to it and got over it, and ended up becoming best friends. So
Oh, you mean fighting like not sparring, but just arguing, or did
just
you
yeah,
fight? Fight?
just arguing. No,
Oh,
we never went at. Here's the thing. He's a third degree black belt in Taekwondo.
uh-huh.
Um, so we knew that if we actually sparred, that one of us would probably end up hurt.
Hurt.
So we left the physical stuff to working out.
Yeah, that sort of stuff you do as brothers when you're like early teens.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you get older, you don't do that sort of crap. Um,
absolutely.
yeah. All right. So now here you are with your brother. And you're starting the gym, and then so let's were you is that where you were spotted at? Did someone ask you, like, much like the MMA in martial arts? Did someone see you and say, "Hey, would you like to? I see how you roll." Because
You know what?
you gotta have, would you like to try stunts?
It's funny that you mentioned being noticed, because that I totally forgot. My first time ever being repped by anybody was by a manager. I think they were called Gem Entertainment, and I was just working at the gym, and I went on my lunch break to Century City, and somebody came up to me, and they're like, "Have you ever acted before?" And yada yada yada. But I didn't actually get into stunts until, I would say, at least a few years in, because I started doing acting first, and one of my clients had a friend that was a stunt coordinator, and he was directing his own feature, and they needed a guy who could do martial arts. And so we met, we talked, and wanted me to read for the role. The project never ended up getting funded, so it never happened. But he invited me to one of his classes. He taught an action on camera class. Uh, Took the class and just started learning from there, and kind of learning the ins and outs of how you get work as a stunt man, and all of that.
So you came out here as an actor first, and stunts. So acting was first, then stunts.
Yeah, heck, I didn't even know you could get a job as a stunt man. I just figured, hey, they just do that kind of stuff with specialty people, which stunts is specialty people. But
Yeah, very, very specialty people.
yeah, I did not know you could actually get a job doing that. So
Wow, wow. Um, so what was it like when you got out here as an actor? Were you sort of surprised how fast paced it was? What was the what did you audition for first?
well, I don't remember oh, you know what? I mean, they were probably all student films. I would say my first network job that I booked, which was after like God knows how many auditions, was the TV show Revenge. It was my
Oh,
first co-star, and I was super excited. It was funny. I was actually doing casting director workshops out here, and you put up a scene, they see you, they give you notes, and that's pretty much it. And she called my agent the next day and said, "Hey, we'd like to read Brian for this co-star." Read it, booked it, boom. The only unfortunate thing about it is, when it came time to air, they only shot my feet. They got my lines, but only the feet. So
so you were saying a line, and the camera was focusing on what you. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was literally shooting from my feet and zoomed in from my feet to kind of see the main actor, but you couldn't actually see my face. I'm like, great. They hated my face, loved my words.
Right.
Awesome.
So did you do a scene with that was with Emily Van Camp, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I only had a scene with one of the Grayson boys.
Okay.
Um, Very nice guy. Um, but I think that was one of the last seasons when things were starting to wind down there.
Sure. Sure. Wow. Did you think it was going to be did you think it was going to be easy? Because I've heard this a lot. when they hit the ground, they land there, and then it's almost like the worst thing possible is to get a job right off the bat. It's almost like you wish that you didn't get anything for 6 months, so you got used to that. Other
Oh
than coming out here and just popping a roll and sitting there going, "Yeah, I booked this. It's gonna be a piece of cake." Because
man,
I've seen actors post that on their social media. They'll hit LA. Next thing you know, they're posting pictures. I got this. I got this. And then
yeah.
like then it's nothing. Then
Here
it's like,
here's the thing, it's tough because I was a firm believer that if I work hard enough, if I get in front of enough casting directors, that I would just eventually start to book. And that was the case, but over about a 10-year period of being out here. It's funny because somebody said when I first moved out here, within the first couple years, they're like, "Oh, you've been here for like 3, 4 years." They're like, "Once you hit 10, that's when it'll start, getting a little bit more steady." And I was like, "Pff, not with me, bud."
right.
And honestly, that was roughly when, around the 10-year mark, is when things started really coming consistently. And it's just, one of the things that casting directors look at is longevity, consistency. The best actor doesn't always get the job, that's for sure. You don't have to be a genius to see that, but they want to see that you've put the work in, you've gotten better, continuously changing your reel. And I mean, yeah, the early job, it gets you excited and you know kind of gives you hope to keep moving on. But I don't know. I don't feel like there was ever a point where I was like, all right, finally, here we go. Um, it was kind of like, yeah, there were more consistent auditions, then there were more consistent bookings, but that was, it's over a period of 10 years before it really hit that mark of like consistently every week I was seeing auditions or seeing calls or bookings, and stunts help that.
Yes. Um. So what was how did so what was the deal with the stunts? Did you by this time you're acting, did someone see you on set and sit there and say, "Hey, have you thought about doing something like this? Would would you like to, would you like to try it?" Um, you know,
Yeah, so in the stunt world, how you get work is way different than in the acting world.
mm,
You can't do it anymore, but before COVID hit, like you would hustle sets. You would show up to a live set and find the stunt coordinator, walk on, hand him your headshot and resume when he wasn't busy, and you would have maybe a quick conversation, and then hope that he looked at it and hired you. And that's kind of how you got work. Um, but for me, again, I had met that coordinator. He'd kind of trained me and got me into a place where I could carry over all my martial arts for on camera. And then he introduced me to an Iranian stunt woman who was very famous in Iran. She was the first female stunt woman, first female uh, skydiving teacher. And then she came over here to LA. Um, and so I was kind of with her meeting all these other coordinators, learning how to hustle and do all these other things. But I got onto a website and they were looking for someone who could do both stunts and acting. It was the TV show Timeless. And I just submitted my acting reel, didn't even submit my stunt reel, and they hired me. So it was really interesting. And then after that, guy liked what I could do, kept hiring me, was able to build up my stunt reel. Um, and then became a little bit more known. Stunt coordinators would start to trust me more, and started actually doing a lot of
it,
doubling.
it, trust is a great. Explain to us how important trust is to a
Yeah,
stunt.
I mean, in the stunt world, it's everything because not only as a stunt coordinator, when you hire someone, you're pretty much saying like, "Hey, this is an extension of me. They will be safe. They will keep the actors and everybody else safe, and whatever they do, everything will stay safe." Um, so when you hire someone, they have to be able to do the job, do it well, not get hurt or get anybody else hurt. And I know that sounds like it should be obvious, but you know,
Obviously, it's not, is it? And
it
we're gonna have to touch bases on that because at least I like to get. A, if you don't want to go deep into it, I understand that, but I really like to get your at least your somewhat of opinion about Alec Baldwin and the armor person, the person handling all the weapons. They got charged with involuntary manslaughter off the Hannah case. Um, is that, I mean, that's a risk on every set, right? I mean, or should it, should be, it should never be a risk.
It really shouldn't. The firearms that you have on set, you should never A, have live ammo. B, most of the firearms that you'll see aren't able, like if you took it to an actual range, you shouldn't actually be able to load it with actual rounds and fire it. Most of the firearms that we see on set nowadays are rubber or airsoft weapons. And even then, the magazines are emptied. The chamber is completely empty. I mean, it should never get to where it got on that set. I think that is it's a lot of,
I think they're done. I mean, they're out there, spotted out there shooting live rounds with the weapons, like, days before, even the night
yeah.
before, what have you. It's just, I couldn't believe that when I read that. I was like, I didn't think that was allowed. I didn't think we
It,
were allowed
you're not.
to bring. Yeah, okay.
You're not. And what they were shooting with live rounds should not have been the same type of firearm that was on set. Like that's just not how it goes. And you know, it, in the world of stunts, most of us train with firearms so that we know how to use a firearm. Also, the etiquette. The etiquette is, how do you carry it? Are you playing with it? Are you keeping it in your holster? Are you giving it to the armor when you're not using it? Always making sure the chamber is empty. Always making sure the magazines are empty. Most of us train in this, but not all actors do. Mainly because maybe they don't think they're ever going to need to use that, or someone will tell them what to do. With Alec Baldwin, he's a bit more of a name. I, I don't know. It's tough because you want to say like he shouldn't have done that, or the armor should have done this, but at the same time, like I don't know what Alec was doing. I definitely think the armor and whoever provided the firearms was the main one at fault. But
Yeah, it's just a real tragedy, and it's just, I know that they, I don't want to say it in a mean way, but it just seems to be the way. But I know that they paid off the widower of Hannah, and I think that was just like, okay, here you go, here's some money, and I think it was supposed to be forgotten, and then I I don't think they went after them out of spite, like, oh, we're gonna show you. I think they went after it because it was the right thing to do. I mean, obviously that, you can't ignore the fact that there was live weapons on that set, live ammunition on the set. I mean, how could you just turn away from that? Actually, I was a little surprised it took so long for
yeah,
them.
I think there's a lot of tape to work through. The sheriff's office wants to do a proper investigation, but this is a this is a SAG film, and how are the rules different? I don't know how they are. Either way, there shouldn't have been live rounds and a real gun on set, so that's a big thing. But
Have you been on unsafe set? And if so, how do you handle an unsafe set?
um,
No names, just generalities.
not as much as probably other people have. I've definitely been on sets where there isn't as much. How do I say it? There's not as much experience. Usually, the stunt coordinators that I've worked with have been great at keeping everything safe. But sometimes when you work for smaller budget things, you'll have directors, actors, producers who don't understand the action industry. And it's my mentor. He was like, "Don't ever be afraid to speak up. Don't ever be afraid to be like, I don't feel safe. Can we please check the firearm? Please don't point the firearm at me." That's the other thing, and you start to learn in the class that I was doing, that you don't actually need to point the firearm at the person. Like you can point it in a way because of where the cameras are to where it's not actually pointing at them.
Right.
Um, but the biggest thing was, you should always feel safe, and if you never do, definitely speak up because who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, um, so what was the first stunt work? What film? What was the first stunt you did? I mean, do they still call them gags, or is that from the 70s?
No, they're just called stunts now.
Mhm.
But my first network job for a stunt role was on the show Timeless. Um, and that was a real fun one because I played the guest starring actor's brother, who I ended up doubling later on in life, um, for two different shows. But yeah, it was just a really cool job where I was an assassin and I was from the future coming back to the past to, I think I was supposed to kill Kennedy. And I ended up getting hit by a car and roll over the car and do not finish my assignment.
Oh, darn it.
I know. Hate
Those those
unfinished
those those
business.
pes those pesky cars always ruining a good villainous plan. Um,
Always in the
so
way.
now, now that was it. Was that, did you obviously you had to walk through that, right? You walked through it. So do you get to wear, because you have to, do you get to wear padding, or do you have to try to do with a minimum amount of padding because that will show up on camera, right? So how much padding do you get to wear when you do a stunt like that?
Um, well, something like that, you depending on what your outfit is, unfortunately, um, it kind of sucks to say that, but a lot of stunt performers, especially the women, can only wear whatever their clothes can hide. Um, Lucky for men, we wear a little bit longer clothes in most of our stuff. Although nowadays, a lot of people are wearing skinny jeans, so it's a little bit harder for guys.
Right.
Um, but for that, so I actually got um, they changed the stunt on the day, and what ended up happening is instead of doing a full car hit, what they did is they took me into a tent and did 360 photos of my entire body with my arms out. Then they came up and had to hit me with a giant pad so that I would fall on my side and kind of roll like I was actually getting hit by the car. And then they did a
Okay.
shot of me falling off the back of the car. So it made it look like I went all the way over. So it
Oh,
was, so it was,
wow.
so it was actually a CGI hit. Um, so I didn't have to wear as much pads as I probably would have.
Right, right, right. Um, how did you feel getting after you completed it? I mean, what was it? Everybody's clapping you on your back. Were they excited for you? It was your first stunt.
Um, I don't think anybody knew it was my first stunt.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it was well. The other thing too is in
More impressive.
terms of safety, telling everybody there that this is your first stunt ever,
Right, right,
isn't
right,
always maybe the best thing to
right.
do because then they're like, oh God, is he going to be trustworthy? Whether the court,
Maybe get into the brotherhood a little bit, brother and sisterhood a little bit more before saying, "Yeah,
yeah,
that's that I did of the 6 month. That was my first."
yeah, yeah.
Right,
Now
right.
that's now when you're talking about like your experience with things like, hey, can you slide a car and run into another thing or do this? That's not where you want to withhold information when you're talking to the coordinator. But if you've made it onto set, you don't have to tell people that it's, you're still early on in your career and this is your first time.
Um, what did you book faster? Was it was it acting job faster, or when you decided to do stunts, or did the stunt work come faster? It seems to me that would be, And how did you balance? Like, I mean, how did you balance it? Here you go out for a part, and you go like, oh, if you book my part, I can also do the stunts for that part.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, it does help. I will say that I've done most of my work doing stunt acting and stunt doubling because of my look and my height, my weight. I can double a lot of guys that are these sizes, so that got me a lot of work quick. But also having that acting skill set. Whenever a casting director or a show would say, "Hey, we want to try to get a stunt actor for this one," that shot my resume up to the top pretty quick because I did have acting training. So that those were the main two things that I ended up booking. In fact, even nowadays, those are usually the calls I get either to double or to do a stunt acting part. So.
what's the difference between acting stunt and stunt double? What's the difference?
Yeah, so a stunt double, they're not going to see your face. You have your main actor, and then, or you have your actor, and then they hire someone to do the stunt for that actor. A stunt actor is you're the guy, you're the actor, you're the stunts. They see your face, they see everything.
So what do you prefer? You obviously prefer the acting. because you want your face on camera, right?
Yeah, it's fun to have a little bit of both worlds, and doing the stunt acting jobs are probably my preference. Plus, being that I'm almost 40, my body's starting to get beat up a little bit. So the more I can move acting in there, and uh,
Right, right,
combining them is the preference, though.
right. Um, yeah, I mean, you're obviously. I think you mentioned. Oh, I don't think we can mention that yet. Let me take a look. I don't think I can. No, I cannot mention that. You told me about a part you went out for, but it's not on your movie database page, so I'm not going to ask you about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, there's a couple that aren't up there yet because it's just taking forever, man.
yeah. Uh, I mean, you went out for like you said, you went out for a comedy part on a very well known show. That must be. You mean, do you tailor now your auditioning? Are you tailoring your auditioning to to still include stunt work, but you pretty much are you gonna pretty much saying, yeah, I'm not really doing that as much as I used to. You just focusing more on the on camera work.
Um, I'd like to say that I can choose one of the over the other, but with how consistent this industry is, I still go out for both. So I'll still do stunt acting stuff. I'll still do just acting stuff. I'm actually finishing up a show called Rookie Feds right now, where I'm the double for Kevin Zegers, who's one of the leads. So I'm still doing just stunt stuff. I am trying to make the push away from just stunt stuff, but you
Right.
know,
Let's show off. I'm gonna show off my chat here. All right, boys and girls. Kevin Zeger. Who is he, and what famous movie did he appear in? Very famous horror film.
not even sure if I know this.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a horror genre guy.
Oh gosh.
I'm
Most of these guys are. I'm sure someone will drop it down here in a minute. Very famous horror film came out. hmm, I'll give you another hint. It got remade. That could be just about any horror film. So I'm gonna really they have no idea now. They're gonna like, oh, that's it. Now you confused me. Uh, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Rookie Feds. I mean, I saw that and I was really excited to see that because that's gonna be like because I was looking at this and maybe you can explain this to me. I thought that if you got cast as a stunt person on a series that you were even if you weren't that would be it you're gonna ride with the series until whenever, but I know it doesn't work at that. Now you just said how you go to an open set and then you could find the stunt coordinator given your information. I thought once like let's say XYZ are going to hire 10 stunt guys and 10 stunt girls and there's two coordinators. I thought that was all built into that show's budget and you stay for the whole for the whole series. Um, so if you come on and you do a stunts for one episode, how do you stay on the series? I mean, how does that work? I mean, other than just
Well,
do
you're right. A lot of shows will do what we call carry someone, and carrying them means you're paying them weekly, you're paying them monthly. Like they're paid to be there when you ask them to be there. Um, I think because it's the first season of Rookie Feds, they didn't do that with everybody. The main stunt doubles, including myself, we weren't carried, but there's work. There because you're doubling one of the leads, like they're constantly calling you for the jobs. But the coordinator's been great. If I've booked something, I've let them know ahead of time, and we try to either work around it or find a replacement. But yeah, usually in shows, I would assume second season they probably will, but they'll carry people so that no matter what, you'll be there. And that would make it a little bit more difficult, I think, if I was trying to do that plus book acting work, because I can't say no to them if they're carrying me, because that contract that I sign is saying I will be there no matter what. Um, so as much as it's not as much money as if I was getting carried, like it gives me that freedom to actually audition and book other work.
So you don't, if they do carry you next, because the feds, the rookie, the feds is going to get renewed. ABC is going to renew that.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it's been getting really good ratings. So
yeah. Um, so you're going to have a decision to make. And do you know what? Do you know? You don't know what to do. It's a good
I-
position to be in, though, right?
it is. It's I was just talking to my fiance about this the other day. I'm very grateful that the things I complain about is I have to make choices of which job to pick and which job to turn down. Like that's a great place to be from when years ago where I was like, where's the calls? Where's the auditions?
Right.
Um, so
Um, so what was it like? I mean, how did you get the part? And Hobbs did get it. It was the Dawn of the Dead, the remake for Dawn of
oh,
the Yes.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't remember seeing him.
Well, you can just ask Kevin. He'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it like dying on? Actually, he survived. He survived until the boat. He shared a. He was paired up with Lindy Booth in the movie, and I had a friend of mine in the movie too. She got cut in half by a chainsaw.
Man. Brutal.
Yes, nice stunt work there, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Geez.
so yeah, that's when I saw that. When I saw that on your resume, I was like, "Holy crap! He got Kevin Zegers. That's wicked cool." Um, so how did you get the part? How did you get the part on that? I mean, were you
So
auditioning and then they saw you and
no, so I had actually doubled Kevin for a series that didn't get renewed. It was called What Just Happened, and it was like a show within a show, and it was this very like big barn fight scene in the rain, and it's kind of funny because actually for the pilot they used my face instead of Kevin's because they thought it was him. Um,
oh wow,
yeah, if you watch the fight outside the barn, whenever I get stabbed, Kevin gets stabbed. It's actually me all the way to the ground, and then they zoom back, and then they come back over to me with another camera, and it's me, not him. And I'm like, well, guess that means I'm a good double.
yeah.
So
Now that must suck though, right? If you get caught in a scene like that, right? You have to because you're doing all the work, right? I mean, okay, we're gonna have the guy run out into the rain, and there's your star. He's sitting over there underneath the umbrella, and then they say, okay, action, and you got to go out there and run in the rain and roll around and get muddy and dirty, then come back and hope to hell that they got it right the first time.
um, yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Kevin is he's very active. He likes to do a lot of his action. Um, that day in particular was very cold and rainy, so they did a rain bar. For some reason, every time I do a rain bar, it's in the winter and it's freezing.
Oh,
Um, but they did have a lot of heaters and towels for us. It was a very fun scene. But yeah, it was super cold. Um, so
now, do you have to? I mean, do you find yourself fighting hard when you're on a set like that? Do you find it fighting hard not to go up to the casting director and say, is there anything is there anything I can do? Can I get on camera? Can I play a role, small role, or just to get out there? Is that is that something that's discouraged strongly? I mean, or are you allowed to? Obviously, you got skills enough to be on the set.
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, it definitely would be unprofessional to kind of just approach someone like that. The coordinator that I'm working with currently knows that I can act, and so that's the opportunity for this show. Now I have agents who submit me to just about everything they can. So if I do get a job, like I even told the hair and makeup team because they're great on Rookie Feds. I was like, if I do get an acting job, I'm just gonna have to make sure it's not in a scene with Kevin because obviously that wouldn't work out too well. But usually the coordinator, if you're hired by the coordinator, you would let them know if they didn't know that you have acting chops as well if they needed any kind of stunt acting roles. Um, But there's so many shows that, for this show specifically, I'm like, I don't feel like I need to do anything else. So it's it's per show basis, I guess.
What's what have you ever had, do you have to compete with other stunt people for jobs? You ever, like, acting, you have to go audition, and you have to go, sometimes you have to go 2 or 3 times in front for audition. Do you have to audition when you do stunts? I mean, do you have to go out there and say, I can do that, I can do that
Yeah.
from 50 feet high?
Yeah, I mean, it's just as competitive, and I'll bring it all the way back to the beginning of our conversation about football. Like, as you're getting older in it, you got to worry about the young guys coming in and being younger, being able to do more stuff, taking more hits, hitting the ground more. Again, the more you've been in it, the longer people know you. And what it really comes down to on set is, who do I want to spend the whole day with, and who do I trust?
Right,
So yeah, we're definitely, for stunt acting stuff, definitely auditioning against other stunt actors. For stunts in general, like, yeah, a bunch of people are submitting their stuff, because sometimes the jobs will go up in private groups just for stunt performers, and everybody's who's fits that description will submit, and sometimes it's the director that picks it, but a lot of times the stunt coordinator will find people he's comfortable with and people that he knows, and go with them.
now, if that's something you thought about too, instead of doing the stunts, like you said, you're winding that part down, would you turn around and become a stunt coordinator? Obviously, you got the skill set for it. Is that something that you would be happy doing?
You know, there was a point in time where I would like have like visions of really cool fight scenes and action scenes, and I thought maybe that stunt coordinating or even directing could be a career path. I just enjoy creating so much, whether it's writing or acting or producing on the creative producing side of things.
Right,
I think that's going to be more of my path as I continue forward. There's so many guys that are so good at, the fight coordinating and the stunt coordinating, um, and they're I just don't think that is really something that I would want to do.
right. So let's talk about your writing. I mean, let's talk about you being creative. When did you when did have you had you always been a writer? That
Mm-mm.
no. So let's talk
No.
about that. So how did Brian start to come to write? I mean, was it
Yeah.
something that you, it was a script that you were listening to, or was this something that someone encouraged you to try?
I've always been, or I've always had a super active imagination. Like we spoke before, those class projects, I would film skits in high school instead of doing like a writing piece. So I've always had a very active imagination. I would say after I moved out here, probably 2 years after I moved out here, I just decided, my imagination is just always going. I'm like, I kind of want to write something myself, and didn't really have anybody show me anything. I just busted out a Microsoft Word and started writing. Um, and that's led all the way up to now being able to actually structure a pilot and get a beat sheet and a treatment and get some development going. So it's been a very progressive process. And you always have like four or five that are either unwritten or that need work, or well, it could be ready to pitch, but it's it's definitely something that's always going. If I'm not doing anything, I'm like, okay, can I get anything done today? And am I going to be lazy, or am I actually going to do it? So
Oh, I'm sure you do it. I'm sure you do it.
not
Let's see.
always.
We got a question. We got a question for you.
Yeah,
Jimmy Joe wants to know, Brian, would you ever act in a mafia type movie? Would you do that? Or would you do a shoot 'em up?
yeah,
Would you do it?
absolutely. My first monologue was from Goodfellas. First monologue I ever did out here in LA, and I think a mafia movie would be so fun. And I think actually somebody else had mentioned earlier, might have been SL7, had asked, "Is there?" Oh no, it was a brother of a certain age said, any stunt work I would not take. Um, and hope you don't mind that I jumped in and brought that
No,
question.
no, 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 by all means.
Um, but high falls are kind of not my thing. I've done like 30-foot practice high falls, and I've done a 20-foot one um, on a wire. Or no, no, sorry, we weren't on a wire. We landed on pads. But at, outside of that, high falls are kind of a specialty that I don't really have a desire to do, especially if
Right.
it's a windy day and you miscalculate. So
Yeah. Yeah. How's the insurance there? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Is there any type of role that you wouldn't play? Um, as far as acting wise, you want to act, but is there any role that like that I would like? Maybe I want the job, but I don't
Yeah.
think I want to do that.
Um, I mean, we talked about this before in the comedy realm of things, but I think if there's a role that's trying to push, an agenda or a political piece that feels forced and it's not like in good taste, I think I'd probably avoid that. I don't think I would do anything that had full nudity and any sex scenes. I do have a moral compass, and not to say it's wrong to do, but for me personally, I'm a faith-based person, and I don't think I could take it that far. Especially, you have kids and
Sure.
they see that and be like, "Dad, is that you?" No, that is not my butt, son.
Yeah, I noticed that you mentioned earlier, like you don't do horror. You're not really a horror guy. I mean,
Well, I don't watch horror. I don't mind actually doing horror. And in fact, I ended up getting after
I was thinking Hunters. Hunters is
yeah.
probably that's about as horror as you can get.
Yeah, oh gosh, that's a gruesome show. I didn't even watch the show; it's too much for me. But I will do horror. I actually like acting in horror because you can go a little over the top, and it's needed for some of the intensity in the scenes.
Hmm.
Um, Oddly, I read an article the other day that said, which makes sense to me, that being able to carry over horror to comedy, comedy to horror, is something you see a lot with actors who specialize in one or the other. So
That's interesting. You mentioned about the faith-based part. Do you do you ever go out for those roles? I mean, how do you find those roles? There seems to be a lot of faith-based movies being made. Is that something you got your finger on, or is it just also word of mouth?
yeah, it's not really. I've had a couple auditions over the years for stuff where I've looked at the producers and be like, "Oh, I know who this producer is. It's a faith-based movie or TV show." I was up for a series regular in a new show that's faith-based as well, but it's more your agent's relationship with either the casting director or the producer of the show or movie. Um, I don't know anybody personally that is on that level where they could make stuff that big. So it's not necessarily a niche that I've gotten into yet. If it is, great. If it's not, that's fine too.
Right, right. Let's see. See, Brian looks like he would fit in the cast of Mad
I
Men.
just I just read that and I wanted to
Yeah.
give a thumbs up to that. Be like, I would
Mhm.
love Mad Men. My brother was in Mad Men. He did a co-star on that show actually.
Oh, did he
Uh,
really?
yeah, I don't remember which episode, but that that was an awesome show. I would love to have been in Mad Men.
That's a Yeah, but it's oh man, I remember reading this about that show, right? So this is just like you're talking about a moral compass or whatnot. I felt really bad for the actress who played Don Draper's wife.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
oh gosh, not the blonde hair. She played on the X-Men movies. Hold up. Oh, January Jones.
Hmm.
So there's January Jones. She had quit smoking before before the show came out. She had just quit, and I read this in an interview with her. And then they came to her and they said, "Well, they're gonna be smoking all their way around." And at first, she tried to do with the fake, but
Yeah.
eventually she just went back to the regular. And
Oh
I just
wow.
felt I just felt really bad for her for that because it's like and a lot of the actors they started out on the fake ones, but then ended up doing the real ones, and I'm like, I don't, it's like, why did you have to insist on that every single damn show? It's like, why not just look? You've already established it. So I guess there's certain things, some things actors, it's a risk, sometimes it's a risk.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And
um,
to turn down a series regular role, because of smoking, that's tough, especially in this industry when nothing's for sure.
yeah, yeah. Um, all right. So now you're writing the sketch comedy. Now are you working with a group of friends on this? Do you have your own troupe that you're doing too? Do you
So
go out and do you out the small theaters and put on shows?
not yet.
Uh,
I do have a group that I work with consistently, that we bring together. And it's funny because I was just shooting on that multicam earlier this year, and I came back and I told everybody, I was like, it feels exactly like the sketch comedy that we do, except on a bigger scale. Um, so
right.
yeah, it's a bunch of people. I try to include my brother in most of the stuff that I do because he's a genius with comedy. Um, my fiance helps write some of it, produce it, and then I've got a bunch of friends who love to do the same thing, and I'll include them in it as well. And it's kind of the same thing as you'll see on set is like you'll people will bring in who they want to work with. And so right now we keep it as a small group, but eventually we're talking about making it a little bit bigger and maybe doing some casting things, but that's in the future.
Jimmy Joe, I have to sit there and say that Brian has actually made it. He is part of the MCU. So, because he mentions he looked good in a Marvel movie, you did do a MCU project. You appeared on Agents of Shield.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
and they actually, man, I had so much more dialogue than what they kept. I had about 2 pages of dialogue for that. And they, for the basis of time, had to cut it out. But that was a fun one. And honestly, that casting office was one of the casting offices I've been trying to get in because Sarah Finn casting does so much. So it was really great to get in there, get to know them. They bring me in all the time for stuff now. So that was a fun one.
You still have to do the self tape though, right? You're still
Absolutely. It's
yeah.
funny you say that. I was just talking to someone the other day. I was like, you've seen a lot of these audition emails that say, if your client is offer only, please blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I wonder what that would be like to be offer only. So not quite there, but it's just as much as a series regular role away because even now, like I'm auditioning probably on average about 3 times a week,
uh,
and that would be impossible if I was on a show as a series regular right now. So
right. But obviously, a series regular on a show would be exactly what you want.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, maybe that because you've appeared on camera in different role. You did the rookie.
Yeah.
You played a role. You played a on camera role with the rookie. So I mean, there is that possibility. There is that possibility that hopefully down the line, maybe you can go back and do it. I mean, do they share the same sets or do they shoot separately away
They-
from you?
yeah, so they shoot on the same lot, but they don't use the same sets at all. And it's funny because they will have people crossover, and the actors actually do too. Nathan Fillion comes into our set, and Niecy Nash will come onto their set sometimes, but that's about it.
I was really surprised to see Niecy Nash do a show like this. How I mean, you get to see her work every day. How is she doing?
She's great. She's really good at what she does. To be honest with you, she's got a lot on her plate because she's not only number one on the call sheet, which is the big name, but she's executive producing this. Plus, at the time when we started this, apparently she was shooting another Reno 911 movie
Right.
and shooting Dahmer as well because she was the neighbor in Dahmer. So she's just the fact that she's able to just do her job so well, and you know
The fact that she was able to do Dahmer. You
that, man, I still haven't watched that because I just heard everyone that I've heard of who's watched it, they've just been like, it's a weird feeling to watch it.
Yeah, I have noted. And of course, this is coming from a guy who just got done watching and reviewing Martyrs last Sunday. But no, I have no desire to watch Dahmer. No, no, I'm with you. I have a certain point, even though even though I watched Martyrs last Sunday. That's with a horror film, and no. No, you don't want to
No.
watch that. No, 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 you don't want to watch that. So writing, as far as the writing goes, so now you're doing sketch. Now have you branched out to do, you know, have you started writing like short films? Are you going to try to do short films this year, 2023? Maybe do a couple of those and get that underneath your belt. As
So
far as
we
script
had
wise.
Yeah, so we have a standalone short that we wrote that we're waiting to see when we're going to shoot it, but it's more or less it's like a proof of concept for one of the other pilots that we did. We shot a proof of concept, which is like a short. Was it last year? I think last year for a pilot that I wrote, and then the year before that, we shot a pilot. We're actually able to get French Stewart for that one.
Nah,
Yeah, so we have been shooting almost something every year. Right now, the focus is more on the sketch comedy. I have to do a little bit of back end work on the YouTube page, but they're just real quick 60-second sketches about this referee who is the referee of life. So if he sees something that is like a faux pas or that he doesn't like or political injustice or whatever, he throws a flag on it and then goes on a rant. Um,
okay. Okay, I can dig that. I like that. I like that idea of an everyday man, ranting a little bit. Um,
yeah,
Speaking of Pittsburgh, you probably know who I'm going to mention here. Have you ever heard of Kurt Wooten?
Kurt who?
Kurt Wooten,
Kurt Wooten. I don't think I have.
Pittsburgh dad.
Pittsburgh Dad.
Oh,
I'll have to look him up.
yes, yeah, it's a phenomenal. It's sort of like what you're doing in the short, real short. It's like 3 minutes long. He's a super Steeler fan, so he comes on during the Steeler season. Oh, it's hilarious. It's absolutely. But he started out. I saw him do old school '40s type of movie called the Mercury Men. Oh,
Okay.
it's phenomenal, phenomenal. It was like, wow, this is so cool. And then he started doing Pittsburgh Dad, and for a minute there, I thought it was going to take off. I thought it was going to go national,
Oh wow.
and I thought, well, some network's going to pick this up because this is gold. Yeah, but it hasn't happened, so I'm not sure if that's because he doesn't want it to happen or if it just hasn't happened. But it's hilarious.
It's 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 tough,
I'll
man.
send you. I'll send you a couple. I'll send you the link to it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do. It's funny because the show that I the show the sketch that I do now was based off of a character that I created. I was supposed to do a Patrick Mahomes commercial, or it was State Farm, but with Patrick Mahomes, and I was supposed to be a referee, and I had a mustache at the time, and I was like, "Cool, we'll go with this." And I literally just made up the character, and then afterwards, I was like, "I kind of like this guy. I kind of want to keep using him." And so, yeah, it's been pretty funny ever since. And we've started to add more people to our sketches. It's not just him ranting, or it's not just a one person thing. It's we're consistently adding people, and it's been pretty fun. But still haven't seen the Pittsburgh Dad. I'll have to check that out.
Okay, we got some comments flowing here. Let's see. They're talking about. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, people are talking about. Yep, Mad Men. Yep. Our good friend Eden says hello. Um, Nice to good to meet him soon on Instagram live podcast. Yeah, I don't do Instagram live. I don't do Instagram podcasts. So I don't be doing that one. I see. To do. Yep. What about body transformations? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess that would be a hard thing to do. You have to keep yourself in really good shape. A brother of a certain age mentions, what about body transformations like Al Pacino or Robert De Niro and Cape Fear or Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker? Have you been asked? I mean, do you have to keep, as a stunt person, do you have to keep your weight at a perfect, all times? Or you can't go more than 2 or 3 pounds either way, can you?
Yeah, I've had to be pretty strict with what I look like, including the hair. Man, my hair is usually not this long. But yeah, with as far as body goes, it's funny. I had to drive across country for the holidays to see my family, um, and we drove for, let's see, it took about 3.5 days to get there, then 2 days up to my family's place, then 2 days back to her family's place. I mean, we were on the road for a week and a half at least, and when we weren't driving, we just wanted to relax and not think about anything. And it is hard to not gain weight when all your parents do is cook. Uh,
Right, right.
so
And cook
you know,
well.
it has been so hard to stay disciplined in the eating aspect and then get in a routine or getting back into a routine of staying in shape and working out because yeah, I mean my boss the other day was just like, normally on rookie feds they give me a long sleeve button up shirt and I get a tack vest on and everything because we do a lot of tactical movements. And this was the first time they gave me this really tight sweater t-shirt thing. And my boss was like, your arms are a little bit buffer than your actor. And I was like, yeah, I'll have to start doing a little bit more cardio, I guess. Um, but
Would that mean you were lifting too much, right?
yeah, it's hard for me to not bulk when I do lift. So a
Mm.
lot of my working out is either high intensity cardio or like high reps, low rest for strength training.
Do you stay in contact with your actor out when the season's over with? When you guys, go for the hiatus? Do you
Um,
talk to your actor during that time? Like, like, "What are you doing what are you doing in the break? I got a movie up, I'm shooting." "Okay, are you gonna be losing any weight?" I mean, do you check in with each other, like, on email or something like that? Like, "I'm at 195," and then you sit there, you know?
a lot of people do. And there was a guy that I used to keep in touch with because he just had a baby, and we looked like identical brothers. But I haven't really kept in touch with Kevin. He's got a family. He's got a kid. He's a really cool guy. When he's on set, we talk, we shoot it, and he's a real great guy. But it's it's not as big of a concern. I think if I was looking to be just 100% a full time stuntman and nothing else, then I probably would do that. In fact, I know the Marvel actor. He was the bad guy. He was a bad guy. He's part of Hydra. He was in the Captain American fight in the elevator. The guy with
Frank
black
Frank Grillo.
hair.
Yeah, Frank Grillo?
Yeah. So with the guy who doubles him, they stay in touch. Um, some people do that. Me not as much again because I'm doing other things as well.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for our guest? Because we got to let him go. Are you on set? Are you still shooting your season for the rookie right now? Are you still doing it?
Yeah. So I'm shooting next week. They had some changes in the schedule this week, so I had a few days off. But yeah, we shoot through March, I think. But still waiting on these other shows to come out with the comedies that I've done because
Right.
that's going
That's
to be the
that's
exciting stuff, I think too.
uh all right, let's see. Okay, now they're talking about reboots. Okay. Eden mentions yep. I will mention it to him, Eden. I will mention that to him. How long did it take you to get used to the business in your profession? Not how long you've been here, but how long did it take for you to understand it or to get into the rhythm?
Man, that's a loaded
Still am,
question.
right?
Well, I think it was year 5 or year 6. I had gotten fed up with everything, and I had taken a
Mhm.
year off. I didn't tell my agents that. I just stopped trying. I just needed to make money. I went off and did some sales. Um, and I was miserable, and I came back, and that's when I started getting into the stunt work. But I the earlier you can understand how the industry works, the better. I didn't really, my brother was out here, so he was kind of trying to figure out the same thing I was. Um,
How's he doing?
he's doing good. He goes out for usually bigger stuff than I do in LA, but in Chicago and Atlanta, I'll go out for the same size stuff. He's just had a few more credits than I have, so he gets the bigger role auditions out here in LA.
Okay. Okay. Well, right now, you never know.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. I mean, um, let's see. Jennifer asks you, what if Brian becomes the main character? Let's see. Yeah, yeah. If you got cast for a horror film, like a horror science fiction film, like They Live, yeah, I can see you doing that. You could handle that.
That'd
No
be fun.
problem. Yeah, that would be way fun. That'd be wicked fun.
It's really easy for me to go that direction acting wise. Um, which maybe that's also why comedy's so much easier as well, because I can just flip the switch in a certain direction.
Right.
Um, but horror for me, digging to death was really easy to do. Like that was fun. Hunters, that was same
Yeah.
thing. And
Really want to see that. I don't know if it got home released or not. I hope it does because I really want to see that. I just love that. I know it's an alternate history, but I still want to see it.
yeah, it's pretty. My friend watched the entire thing, and she was like, "It's man, it's crazy. Like
Yeah,
it's like it.
yeah,
The type of stuff that you see that happens is very hard to watch. Um, but you do have the gratifying effect of revenge coming in and all that stuff. But still, it's pretty
right,
heavy.
right. Let's see. Wish now. Yep. Now they're saying they wish to make a reboot of They Live. Yep. We keep the alley brawl. Yeah, you gotta keep that. That's the only thing. That's a must. Uh, and Alexander Daddario could play Makes Foster's role because they have the same blue eyes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Eden says he wants to let you know that he has many movies plus horror. And yeah, Jimmy Joe says, Brian, would you ever? That's a good question. That's a
We were
really good question.
just I was
Would you?
just talking about Hall Pass
Yeah,
with a friend. I love the scene where he passes out in the in the hot tub right before his date.
right.
I would love to do a movie like that. We're actually trying to take the sketch that I have and figure out a way of making that into a movie. It would be kind of like a Replacements and Reno 911 merged. But yeah, that would Hall Pass is a great comedy.
It is a great and because Nikki Whalen is absolutely a stunner. I mean,
Oh
she's
yeah.
stunning. But that scene with Jason Sudeikis in the bathroom with the girl,
Oh yeah. Yep.
that just kills me every time. That just the way the way he just sticks his head out. It's just I mean, but he's actually turned into a very fine dramatic actor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's great.
yeah,
I
he's
mean, well,
really
they say that like, if you understand and can do comedy really well, you should be able to pretty much do everything well.
oh,
Um,
and think about all the great comics that started out as comedy, and then they swing on over and they start doing drama, and
yeah.
they absolutely own it. They own it. It's just like because they just get it. But dramatic actors can't do comedy. They struggle with it. I really think so.
Yeah, I think, part of me thinks it's because, everyone has some form of nerves when they're auditioning or on set, and how you deal with it in a comedy sense is way different than how you deal with it in a drama or action sense. You can ride those nerves in a drama to actually help with the eyes and the intensity, but with comedy, you really have to almost turn it down and kind of get into this relaxed comfort zone, or else it doesn't come out the same.
No, no. You can always tell when a dramatic actor is trying to do comedy. They're trying to do it. Whereas a comedian, they just they're not trying at all. It seems seamless.
They're just
Go ahead,
themselves.
yeah, themselves. All right, boys and girls. I want to thank our guest tonight, Bryan Dodds. Uh, I did say that I would keep you an hour unless it got hot. I think that today was actually pretty damn hot, and so I kept you a little longer. I am sorry for that
No
a
worries.
little
It's
bit.
fun.
I absolutely enjoy talking to you. I hope that you will come back. Um, and we will put all your information down below. If you have you said you have a YouTube channel as well. So I will get that and put that down below as well. You guys can join sub to Brian's channel. You can also sub to his Instagram as well and keep track of him on Movie Database. And so yes, thank you so much for coming out. The chat, you guys rocked it tonight. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate the support. We will be back here tomorrow night with screenwriter, film director Jim Heffernan, who's a very fine screenwriter, and he's done two movies that I reviewed: The Angry World of Brian Webster and Destroy All Sisters. And he will be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And then Thursday at 8 o'clock, we welcome our good friend Mike Markoff back to the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. He is very much like you. I think this year it's going to be it's going to be very interesting to see where it takes you. I see very good things ahead for you, Brian.
Well, thank you.
I see very
I'm
good
hoping the
things
same.
coming. Yeah, yeah. I'm really excited to see what the year brings for you. Um, Again, to the chat, thank you guys so much for coming out. Don't forget to share us out and come by and drop a comment down below. Let us know how we did. And we will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock with Jim Heffernan. Brian, you stay right where you're at while I say
All right.
goodbye.
Thank you, everybody in the chat. Appreciate all the questions and comments.
Have a great night, everybody.